Hello again, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for tuning in this week, and thank you again for watching. I do have some exciting discussion on affordability and renting versus owning. But first, I want to start off with a couple of charts, so let's check these out. Here is the updated bank and power of sales from ITSO and from TREB. And you can see last week, the week of April 21st, they really jumped a lot. So this was the first time that I've been keeping track here, and I've been keeping track with ITSO since the beginning of last year and about mid-year for TREB, the Toronto Real Estate Board. And you can see 241 active and conditional bank sales on the Toronto Real Estate Board and over 100, 108 on ITSO. So this is the first time, again, that it's been over 100 with ITSO and over 200. And it actually blew past the 200 mark very rapidly, all within 1 week there. This was actually the biggest jump in sales, in bank sales, that I've seen since I've been tracking them. Now, it's still very low, but again, this doesn't include any sold listings. So this is only active ones. And of course, there's a lot of activity with sales out there right now. So a lot of the bank sales and power of sales have been sold into the market already. And one quick story on that. So there was a bank sale that my clients had put an offer in on in Niagara Falls, and it was listed at $550,000. And of course, in full support of my clients, we decided to go in nice and low, 130,000 under asking. So we went in at 420. And of course, once our offer was registered, all the other agents get notified that there is an offer, so now's their time. And another agent did come in with an offer also. They were 80,000 under asking. So competing offers, one's 80,000 under, one's 130,000 under. Of course, the $80,000 under asking did win. And I can't believe the actual lender sold it for that much under, because usually they have a system in place where they'll only go so low in the beginning of the listing. But anyway, competition on bank sales, and the price was a lot under asking. So very interesting there. And that was just 2 weeks ago at this point. The next chart here is the ratio of residential new listings with vacant status. So how many new listings out there have a vacant status compared to 10 years ago and 5 years ago and whatnot. So in 2014, you can see in ITSO 20 boards surrounding the GTA, for those of you who don't know, 19% were listed as vacant, 22% on the Toronto Real Estate Board. And that kind of remained very similar up until 2019, 2020. And now we took a big jump again in 2024. So lots of vacant new listings coming to market. 34% of all new listings, these are residential listings, 34% are vacant on the Toronto Real Estate Board, and 30%, which again is an all-time high, on the 20 boards surrounding Toronto. Just this year alone, that equates to over 75,000 listings just in these areas. This is not Canada. This is just the majority of Ontario. It doesn't include places like Windsor and Ottawa and a bunch of other places. But the majority of Ontario had 75,000 vacant listings so far, and it's only the end of April at this point. So that's a lot of vacant homes. And why are they increasing the number of vacant homes? Maybe you can tell me in the comments what you think. I know I have my own theories, but I'd like to hear from you. Next, I want to move on to this week's topic, which is renting versus buying. Which one's better? Which one's cheaper and whatnot? And of course, I understand that everybody ultimately, or most people ultimately, want to own a home in Canada. This is the Canadian dream or the North American dream, whatever you want to call it. But is it really worth it at this point in the market? So I put this post out on X just a day ago, and it got over 2 million views and a lot of discussion for and against what I'm saying here. But let me just read it to you. Option 1, rent a house for $2,500 per month. Option 2, give the bank $100,000 and pretend you own a house for $4,000 a month, knowing $2,700 is going to interest. And of course, I got a lot of feedback on it. A lot of people agree. A lot of people disagree. They think my numbers don't add up, or it doesn't make sense, or option 3, or down the road, you can own a house and it's going to pay off in the long term. In 30 years or 25 years, you'll have it paid off, and those who are renting owe nothing. So a lot of discussion here. But let me go through some of the data and how I got my numbers. And yeah, we'll go from there. So first off, I'm going to start with, from my area, here's a freehold townhouse, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, $26.50 per month. You can rent that house right now from MLS with good credit and screening and whatnot. So it is a little higher than the 2,500 I did quote, but I wanted to compare it to something similar that was for sale on the same street. So for sale on the same street, here we have it's actually a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, just under $700,000. And again, this is the same street. I did block off the addresses and the MLS numbers because I don't want to be advertising or claimed to be advertising someone else's properties, and the rules kind of get a little sticky, or the boards get a little sticky about this kind of thing. But anyway, this is why I blocked the addresses off. Not a big deal. So to own that home with $100,000 down, which is just over 14%, and of course you're still subject to mortgage insurance, so you will get a little better rate. So I put 5.2. Rates are creeping up right now, so 5.2% and a 25-year amortization. You're at 39.19, and that includes your principal, interest, and property taxes. Now, of course, on top of that, you have insurance, which is a lot more expensive per month than it is renting a home, and you have maintenance. So that'll put you well over $4,000 to own that home. Same home you can rent for $26.50. And back to the other part of the post about all the interest you're paying, I put 2,700, so it is just a bit under here, 2,652 per month in interest only in the first year, and that goes down to about $2,600 by the end of the year, or the 12th payment. So you're paying more, or similar in interest that you are just to rent the house, plus you have to pay your principal and your maintenance and all the rest of these things. So I wasn't really far off on those numbers. I was pretty accurate, and I think I did it at about a 5.3% when I actually made that post. I put it in my calculator. So again, pretty close. Now, looking at a national level, it's hard to get the average rental prices, but this is from rentals.ca, April 2024 update, rentals.ca rent report. Asking rents for all residential property types in Canada averaged $21.81 in March. And here is a breakdown of the table. So the total is $21.81, and this is a average for all asking prices for all rentals that are on their system. And rentals.ca is a pretty big website when it comes to rentals, but that does include 0-bedroom, so that would be bachelor units, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and 3-bedroom. Now, how many bachelors are for sale when you're comparing average sale prices? I don't know. But even if you go with the 3-bedroom, which is a lot higher than the average house or property type on MLS, I'm guessing, because there's a lot of 1-bedroom condos for sale out there, 2-bedroom condos and whatnot. But anyway, even if you go with a 3-bedroom rental, for the national average from rentals.ca, it's $25.50 per month. And this is asking prices, by the way. Now we're going to get into the national sale price, which I cover every month. This is from Korea, just for March. The actual, not seasonally adjusted, national average home price was $698,530 in March 2024. So on a national level, not even me just talking about my own market here in Niagara. So nationally, you can rent a 3-bedroom house or unit, whatever it may be, for $25.50 a month. And to buy the average house, which could include a 1-bedroom condo or a 4-bedroom house, it is $698,000, not far off of my calculation for I used $699.9. Which brings me back to my post and why it got so much traction and attention in 24 hours that I posted it. Why would you buy when you can rent for a lot cheaper right now? Affordability is at an all-time low. And looking at this chart here, I have posted this before, but I have updated it. And this is the monthly mortgage payment for the average home in Canada. And this is calculated using 20% down, mind you, but it is using the prime rate, which would be higher than the fixed rate right now, because I use the prime rate over the years because it's very consistent and it's easy to access. So the rate would be a little bit higher, but again, the down payment's higher. So you can see how the average payment has shot up from 2020 to now. We did peak last year, and of course it declined over the winter months when prices subsided just a bit, and when rates dropped, the fixed rates actually dropped by almost 1%. But of course, it's headed back up now because we have the spring market, prices have gone back up, and the fixed rate has gone back up too, which would bring affordability or lack of affordability higher. So we are almost tied for the all-time high for unaffordability right now in Canada. So housing in Canada is now tied for last year when it was the most unaffordable in Canadian history. We are still at that point due to the spring market and due to interest rates that are creeping back up again. And Dan on X just today posted this chart that shows Canada is the second least affordable place to buy a home or to own a home, only next to Portugal. And if you look at all of the countries, Canada isn't just a little bit less affordable, it's a lot less affordable. So we are completely in our own territory when it comes to lack of affordability in Canada on housing. Now, I did have an interesting discussion on the phone with one of you viewers today. If you're watching, you know who it is. And they said, what about in like 3 to 4 years or 4 to 5 years from now? Will I be able to get into the market or get back into the market? And will affordability even worsen from here? Now, I put in a mean line in this monthly mortgage payment chart here. An affordability chart is technically what it is. And affordability will return. It will return due to recessions, due to unemployment, and house prices will ultimately come down in Canada. There's no way affordability returns without house prices coming down. But you can see if we revert to the mean on the affordability chart here, we're still below $3,000 a month. Right now, we're just under $4,200 a month on this chart. So as time goes on, affordability will return through house prices dropping, interest rates coming down a little bit. They're not going to go back to where they were, and wages will increase over time too, but it will take a long time. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.